Okay, so I'm currently recording for my vlogs for Ethnography. I'm in my moving car, so this is going to be rough, but I'm making an effort. Currently, I'm going to find a place to record myself so I can talk without there being a lot of noise. So I'm going to be talking about, in this first vlog and over the next 5 to 6 weeks, about the current situation with COVID-19, commonly known as coronavirus, and how it's affecting different parts of people's lives, including my own and people that I know. So this will be something, because I won, sorry, itchy nose, can't touch your face, but it's just very hard to talk about when you don't record yourself often. And right now, I'm talking to myself. This is weird. People will see me doing this, and they will also think it's weird. But having to deal with a situation like this that's never been dealt with before in modern times, it's weird. And it's different. And it's difficult. Because people are having to change everything about their lives to accommodate making sure this virus disappears. It's insane. But it's insane that there are some people that aren't making those accommodations. Like people that won't conform, I guess is the right word, to the social distancing terms that the government has set on everybody, and the closing of non-essential businesses, and the requirement of a stimulus package that may or may not be enough for everybody. So, yeah. But for this one vlog, I'm going to talk about the effects of the coronavirus on me specifically for this first one, because my opinion on it is the only one I can give at the moment. It's just easier to give my own perspective and self-reflect on it. So, and I just touched my face. But I think the whole thing is just kind of crazy. Like, I understand why doing everything we need to do is a thing. Like, why we're doing social distancing, why people are closing their businesses, why some people aren't working, why they're taking precautions where they're working. Like Walmart and Dollar General, for example, having up shields and having a requirement of only a certain amount of people being allowed into their stores, which they only started this week. They're just constantly upgrading their maneuvers and their policies of what they're going to be doing to accommodate getting rid of this crap. But some people don't like it, some people do, and some people are indifferent. I would say I'm in the category that I do appreciate it, because I do know people that could die because they have this virus that they can't easily fight. I'm not one of those people, because my immune system works fairly well in most instances, because I don't get sick often. But my sister, for example, she gets sick about 20 times a year from just about anything. So, yeah, it's not fortunate. Yeah, it's hard to explain even just what you're doing, because what you're doing changes all the time. Like, everything that I've tried to do to stay away from this virus, it's like I'm one-upped every week, because all the rules keep changing. It's a game, essentially. I'm having to maneuver myself in ways that affect my schoolwork, affect my occupational work, like my job. It's affecting relationships, because I have a significant other that I can't see because he's 2 hours away, and we haven't been together for months. So there's no chance of me seeing him anytime soon. But it's fine, because we talk every day through our phones, so it's not too rough. because there's some people that they can't talk to their significant other or their families at all because they have the disease and they can't go see them because it's so drastic that supplies are low and manufacturing them is low and distributing them is low, and it's just a rough time for everybody. But he lives 2 hours away in Richmond, Kentucky, and it's hard when you have special occasions. Like our anniversary was 2 weeks ago, and I was supposed to go 2 weeks ago and this past weekend, but I can't because the virus. And then you've got people who are having anniversaries for their marriages, birthdays, celebrations for things like that, achievements, all that stuff. Yeah, so, and then with work, like the first week of quarantine, it was absolutely hectic because like before that, when there was word of people closing businesses and introducing social distancing into the mix, they were hoarding stuff, they were overbuying, panic buying, doing things where other people couldn't get what they needed. And now, because I work in pharmaceuticals, businesses, pharmacies were doing the same thing. They were just buying and buying and buying what they could because since technically the disease began in China and East Asia, that's where a lot of the product for pharmaceuticals is manufactured through companies in India and China, for example. So all of that was being bought out fast because eventually they would have to stop production, and I believe they have, and stuff would just not be able to be made anymore. So for a week we had people consistently buying, and for us a decent night would be 250 to 300 orders, but since we're at 400 plus that first week, it was rough. But then all of a sudden, the past 2 weeks, it has died significantly. You won't see more than probably 200 to 250 orders, which is fairly low. But and currently I am driving to the parking lot at my work because I need somewhere to record so it's quiet. But it first started with everyone getting a lot of hours and having to come in early to accommodate all of this, and then it just shot down to like there's nothing really to do, so send people home early. Because we're technically an essential business, so we have to stay open and do all of this, which a lot of people would probably commemorate us for staying open, but it's like we aren't in the situation where we're gonna have to like be more at risk because we're not around new people. We're only around the same people consistently, and yeah, we're only around like between 25 to 30 employees anyway, so we don't have to risk a whole lot, which is why it's not a crazy deal for us. It's just we've also made our own policy changes for the time being, that certain people work from home. Like if they have a landline, they can set up the internet and everything for working for South Point, which is where I work. They set up the program, computer program that we use. They talk to customers via a landline and set that up so they don't have to use their own personal phones. And then some of them have decided to stay at work, but we've had quite a few that will work remotely. Like for me, I have to work here because the work I do can't be done remotely, but some people have the option. Out of all of this, the work is probably the easiest thing to happen because I'm used to my schedule changing consistently. With semesters and being in school, it all changes all the time, so that's nothing crazy to me. But the schoolwork has been the more difficult part because it seems like everything has been pent up into the middle of the week or to be due on weekdays when it's because when you have 4 to 5 classes and everything's due in the middle of the week for a bunch of classes at one time, it's rough. And that's what's happened to me this past week, because I had to spend an entire week working on a lab for my GIS class, Geographic Information Systems, and it took days to finish. It was rough. And then I have this, of course, to record and edit, and then I've got other exercises for GIS that I have to complete. I have to study for exams for my criminology class. I have to watch movies and videos and take notes and read lectures and take notes on those and accumulate everything for each class so I know what I need to remember and do for my exams, and then write essays and papers and just get stuff together. And it's rough because I know that even though it seems rough to me right now, it's a lot worse for other people. There are people that have severe anxiety and they can't handle what's going on right now. Some people have stopped doing work completely. Some people are not able to do work because their situation with their occupational job is more rough and more of a tough spot than mine is, because there are nurses, there are health aides, there are CNAs, there are UPS workers, shipping workers of other distribution places, fast food, apparently liquor stores, according to Andy Bashir, which that could go different ways. Not sure what ways, but I could see, I guess, why it might be essential. Not sure. But there's kids in worse situations than I am, so I'm not too keen to complain about it. But it's an issue. But I can work through it like I do everything else, so it's not going to kill me. But it could very well hurt other students. And that's the worst part about it. That we have to rush through this semester within a month, because being on spring break like the first week of March, and then all of a sudden the next week and a half, you have to move out of your dorm, you have to get everything out, you have to check out, you have to make sure that all of your classes, you can have internet access that some kids may not have at home. They may not have a stable home. They may not actually even live at home. They could be living somewhere else, or just trying to figure out their situation day by day, week by week, month, I don't know. But the whole thing, it's just crazy, because it hits everybody all at once. This past month has probably been the most impactful on a global scale that I've ever even seen or heard of. Or at least in my time that I've seen and heard of. Not over across historic records, but it's like for the entire world to be impacted at one time, it's absolutely insane. I don't know how many people have actually thought about it, but just to imagine that there's countries where thousands of people are already dead because of this, and it's all happening at the same time. It just blows your mind. Because thinking about how this happens and how it moves up and up and up and just keeps on happening until it finally just quits. It's like, when do you see that ending point? When do you see it quit?